Watch this video to find out how to make an incredibly deadly firework crossbow in Minecraft. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get yourself a really nice crossbow, and I'll show you which enchantments you're going to want. You're going to want multi-shot primarily, and of course mending and unbreaking are always nice, and also quick charge 3 can be quite useful. So multi-shot is really good because it makes it so that you shoot 3 fireworks at once, which basically triples your damage. Of course, quick charge 3 is nice because then you can load up more fireworks more quickly. And of course, mending and unbreaking are nice things to put on any tool or weapon. You'll also want to harvest some sugarcane for paper because of course you need that for fireworks. Now the dye is something that you're going to need a lot of, and it's actually really cool because yellow dye, pink dye, red dye, and magenta dye are all incredibly easy to get, because basically, to get yourself a lot of bone meal, all you have to do is go into the nether, probably the Soul Sand Valley, and find yourself a lot of the bone block structures, the fossils in there. And of course from that you can get yourself a lot of bone meal. And then with that, just right clicking with bone meal on any of the tall flowers will duplicate the flower. And each one of these tall flowers gives you 2 dye of the corresponding color. So then of course we have yellow, pink, red, and also from this we have magenta. And of course you can also get orange by combining these like that. But either way, for this I'm just going to be using the red dye just because it's nice to see. And of course we'll need gunpowder, paper, and now something else you can also do is you can use fire charges. Now fire charges make the blast radius larger, but it does not increase the damage. It just makes it so there's a larger area in which the amount of damage is inflicted. And if you want to craft that, that's just made with gunpowder, blaze powder, and coal. And putting this in the crafting grid in a shapeless recipe gives you 3 fire charges, so it's a decently cheap recipe, although of course blaze powder isn't the easiest thing to get. Now for the actual firework stars you're going to want to make, you'll need gunpowder, any type of dye, and again potentially fire charges if you want. We'll just make the fire charge type, because why not? So I'll put that in here like this, and this is what you're going to want to do first. So just 1 piece of dye, 1 gunpowder, and 1 fire charge, of course like that. And you'll need actually at least 7 of these for the most deadly firework, so 7 firework stars. Then we'll put this in the crafting grid, lined out like this, so there's 1 in each different slot. We'll put in 1 piece of paper and 1 piece of gunpowder, and that gives us this, which is actually the most deadly firework you can make. Now if you don't want to do one with the fire charges because they are kind of hard to get, you can do the exact same thing just with the red dye and the gunpowder, and just make sure to have at least 7 of those so you can have the maximum damage. Because basically you can add as much dye as you want, and it's not actually going to increase the damage at all, but what does increase the damage is the amount of firework stars inside of the firework. So that's why we put 7 in here, because of course that's the maximum we can do. Now we have 3 of the small ball red of the 7 fire stars, and here we have large ball red of 7 of the firework stars. Also, if you do want to attack at really long range, of course you could put in more gunpowder. It's just going to lower the amount of damage, because then you can't have as many firework stars inside of this. Now when actually launching these, what's kind of interesting is you basically put it in your offhand, and you hold right click to load up the crossbow, and when we fire this, you'll see that it actually launches 3 fireworks, and it'll go pretty far. Now that's only flight duration 1, but it actually looks as if it's flying about the amount as it would with a normal firework. It may be flight duration 3, that's because it's being launched. So like launching it straight up in the air, running back and looking, you can see that does launch very, very far. However, what makes this actually useful for PvP and even fighting mobs, so PvE, is that you can actually shoot things really close and it should explode on impact. So let's say we look over here and we shoot, it should explode the second it hits something like this one did here. So basically the small ball red makes us the cheaper but yes smaller radius of damage, and the large ball red does larger radius of damage but no more actual damage to people that are fired with this. Now what we can actually do just to test this out and show how deadly this is if we go like this and just look straight down and right click, you can see it literally got us down to 1 heart, which I would say is a lot of damage to my health. Now of course with full netherite armor or something like that, that's a lot less, but something that you can do that'll actually make this a lot more deadly is if you actually get yourself a whole bunch of the crossbows just like this. Now of course, you wouldn't do it in your creative mode inventory, but you can just kind of repeat the same enchantments, and if you want to do this cheaper, you can just put multi-shot on each one. Then if they're all laid out like this, because again you can store it as long as you want with the firework in there, And we basically go like this. Let's say we have a target over there. We can literally go right click one over, right click one over, and literally just rapid fire these. And the amount of damage over there is basically enough to kill protection 4. So I did some tests, and protection 4 full netherite armor I think needs about 10 or 12 crossbows. But again, you could get yourself a large amount of these, and most people have an elytra or something like that. That really lowers the amount of damage, which really lowers the amount of defense they have. So 9 crossbows should be good for that. Either way, this is a really cool way of attacking things. Of course, you can maybe name this rocket launcher or something like I did, that's up to you. But either way, it's just a really cool weapon in Minecraft, and now you know how to make it. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!